Abhilash, as always, beside OER, and it's a privilege to have Abhilash. So Abhilash is basically at the moment based in the Netherlands, and he's in the University of Twente, which is very next to the German border, and he works in the field of complex light and complex systems. And he has a very active interest in education and research, how to develop research in India and these kind of countries. So what we will be discussing today. Also, Abhilash loves watching a lot of movies. He has recently started painting, and he's a fantastic painter. And so there is a lot of art and science questions here, because since I have used the word art, so what would be my first question to Abhilash is, what is the art of fundamental research to you, or what is basically fundamental research to you in general?
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you for having this conversation between us, because I know we have been in Netherlands as colleagues, like postdocs in the same group, and he also did a PhD and postdocs in Europe, and now you are in London, Cambridge basically in UK. So straight to the point. So we are having conversations on research and all. So you just wanted to know what fundamental research means to me, in not only in science, just in the broad perspective of exploring things, right? Yeah. So for me, the fundamental, because I've been doing scientific research for my entire life until now, and I started exploring new things like painting or music or dance or whatever which comes along with me, just part of being in the Dutch culture. This is just part of me that I am exploring now, but earlier days I was only interested in science. Maybe because I was in India for until my PhD, and during those days we didn't know what actually need to pursue. Maybe if I was in a Dutch society earlier, bringing up, I would be in some other field, maybe painter or something else. But having said that, but still I like at least 70% of my time spending on scientific aspects. So for me, fundamental research is to explore our curiosity and find answers to the curious things that we encounter in life, day-to-day life. If something interesting comes in, nowadays we have Google it and find it out what sense it makes to us, or can we repeat it, whatever it is already there scientifically. So that's what fundamental research means to me. And I don't care whether it has direct application or not at this point, but I'm sure that this feeling of excitement after going through this fundamental research, which will I share with some people, that is the main happiness that we get. And when this happiness goes around with the people, they take it over and they find it more useful, like an application in future. That's the whole point.
So basically you're saying that fundamental research means you have to explore without thinking of gaining any profit.
Yes.
So profit and loss is possibly something does not hold there.
Yeah.
Or maybe in long run that's a profit for the whole human society.
So if you start caring about what profit you get out of doing this, that doesn't make sense at all. So it's better Better
That
just
even
leave
100
it
years
that
from the
way.
line, that may give a technology, and
Yeah.
that can be used in having certain understanding of certain things which we don't know yet. But fundamentally, at this point, we should allow the students to be curious in exploring. That's
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
We have to keep ourselves also curious.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we are still. I still consider myself a student, so
yeah,
because
sure.
I'm learning every day. So.
Yeah. I should not get affected by these
Yeah.
other factors
Yeah.
external.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so I think most of you also agree to the points, or if you have any
Yeah, if you have
comments,
any questions, please interrupt. So please don't bother that this is going to be a closed session. So, if you may have any questions or anything.
I have one question to you. Maybe I can connect with this one. The first question is,
Because we discussed that we will exchange questions.
yeah, sure. Because I've been in India, like as I said, for until my PhD, and I have seen how Indian society look at the education, what they want their students to pursue. So my question to you is, because you also did your bachelor's here, until your bachelor's here, how do we convince the Indian society about the need for fundamental research, which I was talking about like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a very hard question. I mean, this is not only valid for India, but it is also valid for anywhere in the world, because at the end, in the public universities, the majority research in public universities are, even though it's a private university, a good amount of research, even in the West, is done with taxpayers' money. So it needs to be justified. What is the societal impact? So in the UK we have something called pathways of impact. We have to write at the end of proposals, and it's not one paragraph. It's several pages, and there's clear instructions that how you want to in lay term convey to a taxpayer that how your research should have some role in the society. So it's very hard sometimes to do this because primarily fundamental researchers are very much into their field, into their topic. So then it's really hard that we don't communicate with public, and then most of the time we think that we don't need to. We don't care about if there is an audience sitting here and who is not from academia, or who has left academia long ago, and who is a common audience but still pay tax, and that becomes my research money, because that's I have written a proposal, and then out of those 20 pages, out of this thin air, that's becoming money. It's out of those several words of mine, it's becoming money, and that allows me to do research. So I am to some extent obliged to make him interested. That's what I feel, that I should be obliged enough to make them interested. That see, I mean, come to my lab, come to here, come and see if we have some very weird setup in my lab, and then that doesn't make any sense. When you touch my thing, it still makes a lot of hish hush noise. It's because the air floating my table, and then a friend of mine who was a science student in India. We have something called science, arts, humanities, and commerce after your class 10 or high school. So then you have to decide which branch you're going into. And so we did that together, and he left and he went to engineering, and he's now in one of the IT information technology consultancy, one of the India's biggest ones. And then he was recently visiting me, so he was also from the same region of my area, and then he was recently visiting me in Cambridge. And he was also one of the very interesting guy. who could be a great scientist. And then he looked into my devices and he was like, why do you do this? What is the need of it? So Sajid, you have a question? Yeah.
Like if you didn't think about the application of that matter in your research, and how you convince a common man that this is important.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. So it's almost like the same question, like I keep giving these examples to all my students when a minister came to Michael Faraday and asked that what is going to happen with these coils and what are you going to use our small money or we are giving it to you. And he said, to be honest, I really have no clue what the electromagnetism is going to do for the humanities, and he has no idea that it can be so beneficial for the whole civilization. So, to be honest, we sometimes cannot vision. I try to be, at least my proposals are very much fundamental, but I start with a story, at least which fascinates me. For example, I work with molecules, single molecules, particles moving one by one, and I look into the diffusion behavior. So statistical mechanics from single molecule perspective in a nutshell, that's what I do. But is that having any applications? Then I have to think about it. And then the good thing is that I am very much interested in reading things. So I read a lot. So when I see things, I try to connect, and then I see that my research may have very strong applications in biology, not only in solid state physics, but also in biology, where in far end, maybe not right now in next year, but maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, another biologist can do another fundamental research with my research, and then maybe 100 years from that, or I don't know if things can go. I mean, somebody is way more clever than me. Maybe they can do things in a month, and then another clever guy from the biology department can do these things in a month, and then another fantastic company in pharmaceuticals or imaging industry, they can do things very fast, and then finish these things in 3 months and make fundamental research to be translated into a technology. So my whole point is, so that's what I do. So if I have answered that question.
But the question was
exactly.
Convince,
exactly.
Because
so
you talk about long time spans,
difficult
to convince people.
So what I was one of the members also recently said, yesterday said to me that the public audience, public sitting in our audience, they are not interested in our talk. They are not interested in what we do. So why do we bother? Why do we care? Having them are demotivating for us to talk. This is really important comment to be considered, because when Abhilash is saying this, because it's as important problem as it is that we do not communicate to them. So we want to be in a bubble. So the way I approach is that I try to engage them in a common man's common terminology, common lay interactions. This very afternoon we were having lunch, and then almost at the end of the lunch, my friend and me and Tathagato was having an interesting discussion about how to teach a very fundamental thing to a kid. And then we started discussing the intricate details, and then I started telling that my father unfortunately could not be a scientist, but he had a very, very keen interest towards becoming a physicist. And he taught me whenever we were going in a scooter that the structure of the solar system. I was not even, my syllabus was not even teaching me the atomic structure of it, atomic structure. So then he was like, the structure of the whole solar system is very close to the atomic structure. And now when I read all these things, I see that that's a great unification. he was proposing that it's like almost the fractal nature of the nature. So then I took that idea and then I called him to the interview, although he doesn't do any science anymore. And then also I related our thing, what we do in open academic research, to what he has done in a village, starting from just doing exercise and do certain amount of activities, yoga, and making world champion from that village. And that village has a sports club which is created by him, which has 3,000, 4,000 members apparently. I didn't know that. Today I came to know. So these are the way I try to do. I love talking to people.
So basically you're saying that we need to organize events where we can communicate.
Yeah.
We have to invite. But that has been happening. But we have to
but
make it in
a way which can where they can relate.
Yeah.
Where they can relate.
So this our platform is also academic research itself is doing this.
Yeah. In India it's very difficult. In the West it's easier.
Yeah, basically our organization we have to conduct more of these events and make sure that there should be some sessions where we discuss each other and try to spread this awareness.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
So that's why we started doing these open sessions, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's very interesting conversation where it's going. I mean this is a very important question, that how do you relate to a normal person, and then what would be the best fundamental research example for to start with. I mean if I want to talk to someone who is lay audience, who is in the public, and can I just start saying that I work with single molecule optics? Okay, so that makes a lot of sense to me in a 3 words, but that may not be reachable to that person. So what would be your best example? So that's the exact question what I prepared for Abhilash is, can you give us an example of groundbreaking fundamental research in India and abroad, so that that motivates people to be involved?
This is going to be a hard question because in science, the research areas in science is exploring, and the Indian society in general, they don't even know what research is, and they don't actually give importance to these factors rather than other things. What they are intended is mainly to get a job to the kids as early as possible, like just after finishing higher secondary, they want their children or the young kids to get into some jobs and then settle. That's the way it is still progressing in India. So there is no improvement, I would say, as far as this scientific researches are concerned, and how the